listening to Cain, Randy, and Brooke on Scratch the Vinyl. Scratch the Vinyl.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. You made it back for another week, and we are so glad that you did. We're still on a emotional and, I don't know, even a kind of a physical high from the benefit, the Remember the Drumstick benefit at Kelly's Pub. It was epic. Those of you that didn't make it, shame on you. But the good news is we will have plenty more coming up, I'm sure, in the very near future. We may even have another benefit with Kathy coming up in November. So we'll see if plans come together on that. But it was a fantastic show. I'm once again your boy Cain Stevens, and I am El Capitan of this crazy ship that we call Scratch the Vinyl. Now let's bring on the other hosts. Let's bring on the God of Thunder, the King of Sting, the entertainment Godzilla of this town, Randy Wilson. Randy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous today. That's quite the intro you gave me, though.
I got to do the build-up, man. I mean, you are a man who deserves a build-up, and our guest deserves a build-up like that too. I just, I probably petered out. I gave it away right off the. So.
Well, I love the ego boost. Thanks, Cain.
Yeah. I need to pre-record my own intro for myself, but I just feel like I'd be kind of a jerk if I.
Gentlemen.
Yeah. Out of the red corner.
Up next is Cain Stevens. All right, let's hear it for Cain Stevens.
That's what I need. I need that boost too. I'm gonna pat myself in the back and give myself a hug and.
See, Brooke has that radio voice.
She does.
Welcome to KZUM.
You're hired. So let's get our other host on here. She's already talked, but we want to talk to her some more. She's the red lip lady. She is the big red machine. She is Brooke Johnson. Brooke, how are you feeling after the benefit? Are you feeling fantastic like I am?
Oh yeah, I am feeling so good, and I love the videos that you posted. I couldn't watch some of them because I was up there dancing. And I'm like, oh man, it's like when you watch yourself do something and you're like, oh, I thought it looked really cool. No, I never thought I did, but it just, amplified the fact that I should go up and dance some more with all my buddies. It was a great time though. I had a blast. I want to do it all over again.
Well, that was wild because, you made an area, like it was closed off. You like pushed an area away for like a circle pit or mosh pit, which I thought was really cool. And then you were sitting with me and you were like trying to get people to go out there. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to. I was like, the only way I'm going to go out there is if you go get Harold. Because I looked across from Harold, who did our food. And I don't know, he looked like he was having a good time, but he just didn't have that gleam in his eye that I thought maybe to get on the dance floor. But I'll be damned. Brooke got him and got everybody else up there. And it was wild. So I'll never doubt you again, Brooke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I can get a bride to, catch a popsicle on her wedding day. So if you ever need anything, just let me know. All right.
you notice she gave me that look and I had to get out on the dance floor.
You did it, Randy.
But once we did, the whole crowd got up.
They did. We even had like these younger kids, like everybody was up there dancing and having fun. That was a blast. And the entertainment was so much fun. And I mean, Kathy was up there dancing with us and we had everybody. It was so much fun.
That band took me back to the old punk rock garage days. They were awesome, man.
Oh yeah. They were a blast. I mean, those are the bands that I started out around and started learning chords and playing. It was bands like that. And so they really did kind of transcend me back to another dimension back when I was younger and felt like I was a lot more cool than I am now.
Well, yeah. And then, I mean, everybody that was there, all the stories that they told, and like the drummer was from there, but then like all the, partiers and patrons and everybody, they had stories to tell Kathy. And I told her, I said, you're going to be getting your ear just talked off like no other. And she sure did. She heard stories. Other people heard stories. I mean, some people reconnected. I mean, it was a good time. It was a big reunion, it was good.
Did you notice we had a different range of age groups that were there? Like the older crowd totally remembered the drumstick and it totally connected with that music. And then we had this younger crowd that had no idea the drumstick, but they were jiving to the music. So it was nice to
They
see
really
that.
got to know.
Yeah, it was nice to see that.
Let's bring our
It was.
guest in right now because he was also there at the show, and I'm dying to ask him, what he thought about it. He is a veteran of radio excellence here in this town. He's on the Slacker Morning Show. He is David Rabe. David, how are you?
I am fine and dandy.
So is that how it did I butcher your last? Is it Rabe?
It's actually Rabe.
Oh, I knew it was like a 50-50 shot that I get it.
Yep.
Well,
you know what? It's probably wrong 90% of the time. So, you're in the top, 10% there.
Well, I didn't insult you, so that so we went right off the bat.
Yeah, you can't.
So, David, how did you feel? You were at the show, and you actually know you've seen Red Max before this. How did you feel about the show? How'd it go for you?
Oh man, I mean, Red Max still sounds as great as they were when I moved to Lincoln. They've been doing it forever, and they're just one of my favorite. I've just always loved seeing that band. I used to do a bunch of shows like on campus, and we did a lot of things at the Commonplace or the Culture Center. It was right behind Wendy's. It was like an old church. It was like the greatest venue ever. But one time saw Red Max. Randy changed the string full volume.
Oh, wow.
Full volume for minutes on end. You were just listening to him howl and scream while he was changing his string.
Man, that's a legendary event. You're not the first one to mention that. And I remember going to punk shows there when I was right out of high school and everything. And I mean, that was really a legendary place. Does anyone remember what it was called? Did anyone ever?
It was the Commonplace.
Okay.
Or the Culture Center. It had
right.
It had two names. Yeah, it was part of the university.
The Culture Center. I've seen a few of bands there, and in fact, when we were talking to the Prids, that's how I met them, through one of the drummers. I went to the Culture Center because it was right by Wendy's or wherever, like in that little area.
It was the best shows ever.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. It was a cool place. Yeah.
Brooke, did you start a mosh pit there or anything?
Actually, that was the first place that I saw a mosh pit that was so intense and close. And the band that was playing, it was like a rural, screamo, and I was kind of standing up front, and all of a sudden it was like, I see these people crowding around, and then pretty soon I'm kind of getting hit, and then I'm getting hit a little more. And then I'm like, this girl need to go sit down, because all of a sudden people are just moshing and going crazy. And I'm like, I wanted to get in so bad, but I tried. I stayed back. But yes, there was a lot of moshing going on at that place.
The Clash of the Titans and Anthrax was about to start, and me and my buddy were standing there, and we were like, ooh, we should probably move. And then all of a sudden we were, he was 20 feet one way and I was 20 feet the other way. It was like we were in the epicenter, and we just didn't even know it, and you were just gone, and stayed out of those. I am not a mosh pit guy. I'm not a mosh pit guy. It's not on my insurance plan.
I'm a mosh pit guy now. When I was younger, I used to get crushed. Now I can make pathways.
I stand with Randy. I'm like, Randy, save me.
Brooke follows me. She'll follow me. She's Randy, get me to the front.
Yep. And then I just start it all. And I'm like, it's like that friend of yours that starts fights but then leaves, and then you're the one that has to do it.
we could be the reason, or maybe the sole reason, that everything is seated ticketing now. Ticket seating.
That's right. It's our bad. Sorry about that. David, I love it when we have DJs on here, because I love listening to the stories about, being able to be live, or going to KZUM is one of my favorite radio stations in the whole world, because it's just it's a plethora of music, so much going on. And you, I want to kind of talk about what you do on KZUM.
My show, I play.
Your show.
I play whatever the beep I want. I mean, you literally might in a 2 hour span get classical music, Slayer. I like to do Wagner and Slayer together. That's really always works really good. You might go some reggae, a lot of Frank Zappa, a lot of funk, you know. But I love Western swing. I love playing like random Journey songs, that somebody says, "Well, I I hear that in the Eagle too much. Why are you playing that?" And I'm like, "Well, you listen to the Eagle too much. If you listen to KZUM, you would hear it like once a month, you know." Uh I just love KZUM. It's like some of my yeah, I listen all day long. I just have the headphones on at work and I'm just going. It's so many different things. Even the variety shows are different. It just I just love KZUM. I could just talk about them for hours.
David, what's your time slot?
Oh, I'm on Thursday mornings from 10 to noon. It's an early morning show.
It sounds like all of our playlists. I feel like that you have my playlist in your when you on your station because I go to reggae and then all of a sudden it's like some classical and then all of a sudden now we're gonna be doing some slang. I love your show.
I love making mixtapes.
Brooke, I've never heard you do country swing at karaoke though.
I love the honky tonk. I like bluegrass. I like all that stuff. I'd get out there if we did something. We could do a little swing dance and I can get everybody out there. I guess Randy, you've seen me do that before.
He's kind of like Satan's jukebox in a way. Like if you listen to the show, he really does play a little bit of everything. I mean, like it's wild. It does remind you of those mixtape playlists. But I mean, how long have you been doing this show now, David?
I've been doing the Slacker morning show since like 2012ish, and then about a year before that, I started out on a show called Sound Check Nebraska, which was just it had to be Nebraska artists. So it wasn't just Lincoln, but it could be Omaha, Grand Island, whatever. We were just pushing. That was our whole thing. Well, there was three of us that did that show.
Uh-huh.
And then I subbed on a show for a couple times, and they said, "Hey, do you want this time slot?" And my boss at the time was really cool, and he was like, "Yeah, you can do it." And I'm like, "Sure." And so I just started my own show. And I was, when I started, I was like, I'm not going to constrain myself at all. It's not like I can only play, jazz from 1920, or only play Celtic music. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Irish show, but I mean, I was like, I'm not going to and I didn't want to have to do anything. So for a while I had like a 10:30 dance party. And then for a while, one day I was just like, I don't want to do it this week. And then I really don't ever do it again. But, it's just, I don't know. There's great music and there's great songs in every genre of music. It's why hold back? And then some hit songs are hits for a reason. Not all of them, but some songs are hits for a reason.
I like the fact that you have so many different, I mean, that's literally my playlist. Like, I don't want to hear the same stuff over and over again, and I don't want to hear, I love getting from just a variety of music. I really, 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 really love your show. And that's like my dream job is to be like, I'm going to play whatever I want,
Well,
That's cool.
I mean, everybody, it's volunteer. You can always go down and put an application in, and then we do a programmers academy every so often where you learn how we run everything, and then you wait for a time slot and you can get a time. Anybody can do it. I always say KZUM is the corporate radio DJ's dream job, because you think you're going to get into the music and you're going to pick out the music and everything. But, I have friends who have corporate radio gigs and they do their week in one afternoon. They go in, they record all their breaks in 4 hours and they're done.
I would hate that. Like I definitely, that's a dream of mine. I would love to volunteer and be at KZUM. I think I've filled it out to try to get like different podcasts on there, because I know they have a podcast program, but I would love to just do what you do, which is be a radio DJ and really just put music out there. But I was always worried, like you said, like I didn't want to bog myself down to like a certain thing. Like I would love to play Nebraska artists and this or that or what, but I would never want to be bogged down to that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think I like to share music probably the way you do, which is it's just so much fun to kind of like have that moment where you get to share so many different things. Like I don't know, that's the joy of being a music listener in general, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, but then there's people like John Cruz, which you guys have had on the show. Uh, he does 3 hours of metal, and it's hardly anything I've ever heard in my life when he plays stuff, and it's just so great. And he can, but he's got a passion for the. If you're going to do like a specific show, you got to have a passion. Like Eric, who was on, he's passionate about those jam bands. He's seen Fish a billion times. I mean, he loves that stuff. But I don't know. I hate making plans. I hate making schedules. I'll be there at 10-ish kind of guy, So I mean, I just want to hear what I want to hear. Essentially, my show is from when I get home from work on Wednesday night till I go to bed. That's what I listen to and decided I was going to play on Thursday.
Cain, you were kind of a kid in a candy store when you were on. You got to pick all your favorite metal music on that show.
I did. I got to be a DJ for the night with John, which was amazing. I got to pick all of the music for the 3 hours, and I couldn't have had more. I mean, like I saved the list in my computer, but I mean that was like the most fun I've had in a long time.
Did he give you the laminated one?
He did. He puts in a lot of work to that, man. He really does.
I have all my laminated lists.
You guys put in a lot more work than people give you. I mean, like you guys are doing all of it. I mean, you're picking it, you're making sure that the lyrics are clean enough
or editing it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are.
You have good friends that'll edit it for you.
Wait, that's what you really need. You got to make those friends that'll do it for you all the time.
That's Cain for us. Thank you, Cain. I appreciate you. Otherwise,
can you take these two words? One's at 1 minute and 51 seconds, and the other one's at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And he's like, sure, because it's easy. I give him all. He doesn't have to listen.
Yeah.
I try not to. Over.
So I mean, how many in your time frame? How many songs do you usually have to put together in that amount of time?
Well, I need like an hour and anywhere between an hour and 43 and an hour and 40. I can get almost 45 minutes of music in my 2-hour slot. For me, it's more like time. I mean, because I will play Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick, that's 43 minutes long. I will play that, and I do it every couple of years. But I try not to ever play the same song more than for 6 months. Because I do everything on the iTunes. I uncheck the song, and then 6 months later, I check it back on so I can play it again. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I play this song too much. Then I remember I listened to other stations, and I just heard the same song at 7:50, 11:50, and 2:50, and I'm like, oh, I guess you can play it, twice a year.
it's okay to repeat it. I mean, sometimes, I'm like, I'll be listening to the radio and I have to go do something, and I'm like, damn, I missed my song. And then I get to hear it again. It's okay to do that, I think, every once in a while. But hey, David, when we were at Kelly's for the drumstick benefit, I got to meet your wife as well. So I got to meet both of you. It was really nice to meet her. She seems like a really cool person. And
she's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Amen. Let's say that. What was that again? I'm kidding. But does she have a lot to do? Does she help you out with anything? Did she have a big collection where she's like, here, play this or do this? Or does she have her 2 bits in?
Every once in a while, I will play some Taylor Swift on my show.
Oh, right on. Is that her favorite?
That and she loves Led Zeppelin. Like, our marriage was kind of a Led Zeppelin theme, but it wasn't a Led Zeppelin theme.
Did you go to California?
We haven't made it all the way to California. We just went to Vegas to the Sphere a couple weeks ago to see the Dead and Company. That might be the most amazing place I've ever been in my life. And not talking video, the sound. It was just, oh God.
I know I've kind of promised to take my mom. Well, I don't, it's probably too late now, but we were looking at taking her to the Eagles at the Sphere. I mean, tickets were like $2,500,
Oh God. Oh God.
but I can't imagine how awesome that would be.
Yeah, that was a bucket list thing. It checked off. I don't go to very many big shows, so that was worth it.
I bet, I bet back in the day you were just at every show you could possibly think of. I mean, the dreads in itself. I love your hair, by the way. How long did it take you to grow those?
It's been going about this round is about 6, 7 years in right now.
Right on. I love it.
I've had them and then cut them off because they get too long and too heavy.
I've always wanted them, but then I never got them because I comb my hair too freaking much. I'm starting to lose it. Well, that's pretty cool, man. I love listening to your show. And is there anything coming up as far as with KZUM? Any kind of fundraisers or anything that you have going on?
I know in June we're having there's something at the Bourbon Theater for the Honky Tonk Hero show on Saturday night. I don't know the exact date right now, but that's will be a nice little benefit. And well, I mean, yeah, I can't think. We have 3 fund drives a year, and we're 70 to 80% of our, I think it's 70% of our funding comes from our fund drives, and it's powered by the community. There's like 80 volunteers, 4 or 5 paid staff. And, we do a lot with, what we think. I mean, it's KZUM's it's also the nonprofit that helps other nonprofits in town. It's just a lovely community and family to be associated with.
Well, that's with the honky tonk benefit. That's with Twyla Twang, right?
Yeah, Twyla Twang.
Twyla Twang. I know you really can't say it as plain as I did it. You got to put a little flair into it.
Twyla Twang.
Twyla Twang.
She's also she also volunteers. Not only do a show, she volunteers. She's a music director, not a director, but organizes releases, new releases people send us and stuff like that. She organizes that, lets people know, hey, this might be good for your show, and we review things, takes care of the, somebody else really takes care of the library. There's a library there, but it's majority blues. They used to have the most amazing record collection there, and then one of the general managers sold them off to pay, in a rough time.
The question that we always get into, David, which is, what does your collection look like? I mean, do you have a boatload of vinyl sitting at your place? Do you have a bunch of cassettes? What do you got over there?
Yes. And I only have a few 8-tracks. I mean, I think I have one reel-to-reel someplace, but I mean, lot of CDs, a lot of I don't have a lot of records, in the overall aspect of people that I know collect records, but I have a good amount of records. I have a good stack of 45s of bands that I've bought over the years, because 45s were at the time it was like $3 to $5, and you didn't have to spend $20 on a t-shirt. You get a 45, and you're still helping the band out. And I have a lot of those. Yeah, and a lot of CDs, because I still have a lot of cassettes. I have cassettes that I recorded reggae shows off KZUM in like 1988 or something. I have that kind of stuff.
Well, do you I mean, on your collection, like what's your go-to? I know you listen to everything, but like I always think about like the way I consume music. I kind of like, when I listen to it, I'm obsessed with it, but I need it to get me through the day, or I need it to get me through my depression or whatever. What does music do for you? And like what bands really kind of get you there? Like the ones that really do it for you every time.
I can always put on some dub reggae, the Upsetters, or any Lee Perry or King Tubby or anything like that, and it always mellows me out. I still listen to a lot of Grateful Dead every week. I mean, there's things on dead.net that you can get free snippets of concerts every week, and so I listen to those pretty much every week. It just I don't know, every a lot of David Bowie lately. Everything rolls in moments, because I remember, I can specifically remember the point in time in college where the only thing I listened to was the Doors. For like 3 months, nothing but the Doors, and then Led Zeppelin for just I tend to delve into something, and then I learn all I can learn, and then I go to the next one.
I do the same thing. I did the same thing. I dive into the Doors, and then I go back and listen to the Beatles, not like the greatest hits nonstop for a while. It is really something about the music that just takes you back to a time and place. And when you kind of get fixed on something for a while, you kind of stay there until you get out of your funk and move on to the next thing.
Like, yeah.
Well, let's play a little game here real quick. I mean, we'll put everybody on the spot. So, Ray, I'll tell you what I've been listening to. I mean, and like if they check their streams, like it would be like an obsessive. So I have a new band that I just discovered organically called Slow Joy. And there's a song called Wound by them. And I have listened to this song, I'll bet you, in the last 3 weeks, at least 90 to 100 times. I've listened to it nonstop on repeat. I've learned how to play it on my guitar. I've learned, I've got the lyrics figured out. I could literally cover this band instantly. But like, okay, Randy, there's got to be a song that you've been listening to lately that's really got you obsessing.
There is, and now I can't remember the name of it. How about that? It's Chris Brown. Like, we're talking about something that I wouldn't normally ever listen to, but I stumbled on it when we were downloading some new music a couple weeks ago, and I can't believe I can't remember that name of that song right now. But I love it, and I just started playing it at my shows like every night now.
What about you, Brooke? I can only imagine what you've been playing in that head of yours.
Oh man, they all are just like a mix CD with all different kinds of music going on at once. I do love reggae. I could listen to that every day, all day. When I ran a restaurant, when I played reggae, everyone was happier. They drank more and they were happier. But there's a Willie Nelson, his son, what's his name? Willie's son. Anyway, he has a song that Willie sang and it sounds just like him. I mean, identical. And so I've been listening a little bit of him, but I call him Willie's son because he sounds just like him. But yeah, I don't know, little Willie's son.
And how about you, David? What lately has really struck giving you the old earworm where you've been listening to it nonstop?
There's an album that came out a couple years ago by a band called Easy Star All Stars. They do dub versions of other albums, or they do like the first one that really got me hooked was Dub Side of the Moon. And now I can't hear Dark Side of the Moon without hearing the Dub Side of the Moon version in my head. But they just came out with one a couple years ago, Ziggy Stardub. And man, last 6 months, I listened to them and David Bowie, and David, like, I can't get enough of the song 5 years.
Yeah.
Either way, either David Bowie, the Easy Star All Stars, the studio version, the 72 version, the other live version, that one song has just been stuck in my head for a while.
I love this. I love this conversation so much because this is why we do it, guys. I mean, this is exactly the crux of the show. It's our strange obsessions with music in different ways. And I knew David was going to be a perfect guest on the show. I mean, we had a blast with Eric when he came in here. We had a blast with John, but I just knew there was something about, because I've listened to David's show before, but I knew there was going to be something about that we would share. in this way, man. So I love that. I love the story of that. But I hope Slow Joy hears this. I hope I can get him on the show because they have no idea how this nerd from Lincoln, Nebraska, has literally been pushing their streams to the next level. I might even listen to it a few hundred times today before we're done.
Well, I remember the name of the song.
Okay,
It's called Residuals.
Nice.
And I just, like I said, I just stumbled on it. I also will give a shout out to the Prids who have been on our show. They've been doing some touring, and I've been catching a lot of their new videos and some of the stuff they're doing. And every time they put something out, I tend to just throw it on and listen to it for a while. So,
well, it was like I was a few years ago. I was obsessed by the weirdest song, the Hound Dog cover from the movie Hound Dog, and I can't remember who she is that sings it. I just love that song. It was like the poppiest thing ever on Dave's. What I bought the single, and I can't. Weird things happen with music.
It was on the soundtrack of that.
Yeah. Ain't talking about. Give me a second. I'll find it for you. I'll find the name for it. Oh God.
I find myself doing that a lot when I watch movies and shows. I'll hear that perfect song and I'll use the Shazam app, to tell me what it is. And then I'll instantly go to Spotify after that. So I'm sure I'm extremely annoying when I go to movies and things. My wife probably thinks I'm like on the phone, like on Facebook or something, but I'm really just searching a song that's on there. There's a lot of great music out there. But yeah, I would love to hear what that song is. I'm sure you and I are going to exchange songs before you leave.
Yeah, I could do this forever.
I love this. All right, let's go ahead and run the brand new Elegant Sasquatch ad. And then when we get back, we'll come in with the local roundup, and then we will get back to it after we talk about our fine sponsors and all the people, places, and things that, of course, keep the lights on and keep this show rolling and partying all day and night long. So stick around, and then when we get back, we will be back with our guest, KZUM Slacker Morning Show host himself, David Rabe.
Dude, last night was a rager. I literally don't remember anything. What happened, and why do our beards smell so bad?
It all started when a Sasquatch came out of the woods. He was doing keg stands. He DJ'd the party for a while. He even brought a live skunk to hang out. It was epic. It was getting late when Sasquatch's skunk friend decided to spray his pungent odor everywhere. Now our beards smell like rotten eggs and trash.
Don't worry, friend.
Is that you, Sasquatch?
It's me, your boy Squatch. Have no fear, my nose-melting follicle friends. I have just what you're looking for to get the skunk stench out of those skunktified beards. The Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company has all sorts of balms, butters, oils, and washes to turn you from skunk to hunk in no time.
Oh, bro, this is a trip. I feel like I'm dreaming, man. I'm gonna go back to bed.
Well, pinch yourself now because you're not dreaming, my friend. I'm here to tell you about all the great things going on at the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company.
Oh, tell me you have something to help us with these smelly beards.
Not only do I have something for that, but I have so much more. Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com to check out the shop and look at all the different beard balms, butters, oils, face washes, and bundles that we have to offer. In addition to all of our great prices, if you mention the Scratch the Vinyl podcast with Scratch30 at checkout, you'll get an additional 30% off of your order.
Oh, man, this beard wash is amazing, and these oils smell so good I could drink it.
Oh, you foolish little human. That's not what they're talking about with hair of the dog.
But seriously, Squatch, these scents are amazing. I already smell better.
Well, on that note, it's time to grab another beer and, oh, it looks like our friend the skunk just arrived. It's time to party. I call dibs on the first game of beer pong.
All right, let's kick it off with the local roundup, your favorite part of the day, your week when you hear this. We're setting your weekend plans right now, so let's get started at Gray's Cake. From what I see, and I'm looking online right now, it looks to me like They have a show Saturday at 8 p.m. and they've got the M80 band. So go see those guys. I don't really see anything else from them, but I could be wrong. So Saturday night, 8 p.m., the M80 band. If you get hungry, go on over to the TAM. I'm sure Pat and Karen will surely appreciate you guys trying all that awesome food and then making your way over to Gray's for an awesome night. Now let's head on over to the Zoo Bar. Friday night for the FAC, they've got Dennis Jones. And then later on that night, they've got Valley Creatures with the Baguettes. And then Saturday, it looks like they've got, for the early one, they've got the Zoo Bar Golf Tourney After Party. So the after party for that is going to be kicking off there. And then later on Saturday night, they've got Beyond Bananas. So one heck of a lineup for the Zoo Bar. We haven't really talked about Madsen's Bowling and Billiards in a while, but they have had bands doing the Rockin' Bowl, and this week is no different. So Friday, June 6th at 8 p.m., they've got Black Hole Suns. I believe that this is an iteration of the Replicants, so I hear that this band is kick-ass, so go see them Friday night at Madsen's. Tell Brady O and Sarah that Scratch the Vinyl said hi, and they'll probably give you a high five. So also, let's go over to the Bourbon now. The Bourbon has an action-packed lineup, so let's talk about it right now. So Friday night at 7 p.m., they've got the Lords of Acid with Little Miss Nasty and Black Plague. Then Saturday night, they have the Honky Tonk Roundup, which we just kind of mentioned here. It's a KZUM benefit, and that's with Twilight Twang and everybody on the Honky Tonk Roundup. So go there. I believe it's featuring Clarence Tilton and the Hanging Cowboys and Nolan Leonard doing a solo acoustic performance. So doors at 6, show at 7, advance $20, 25 days of show, $2 under 21 fee at the door. So get there for that. And then Sunday, it looks like they have Faster Pussycat and the Super Suckers with the Rumors, the Lonely Ones, and Twisted Chrome at the Bourbon Theater. And that show starts at 6 p.m. Get on their site for how much those tickets cost. I don't really see that here, but I'm sure you're going to have to pay something. But those look like great shows to go to. So there we go, Lincoln. We've offered you a nice variety of places to go this weekend. Your plans are made. Let's talk about our sponsors real quick. Roots Music Shop. Always go to Roots Music Shop for all your instrument needs. We have Backtrack Records. Go there for records of all types, cassettes, CDs. They've got it all. Go there before I buy everything. And I promise you, if I hit it big, I'll just buy the whole dang store. We have American Senior Benefits called Jason DeGosh. Ask for Jason DeGosh himself, the man, the myth, the legend, and he will help you out with everything you need there. We have Lil Bill's Barbecue. You can find him right now, I believe, on Facebook. Find Lil Bill's Barbecue and get all those sweet flavors because they really are great. I mean, it's grilling season anyway. You got to get there. Slying Tattoo with Bryce. And now let's get back to the show with our guest and favorite from the Slacker Morning Show on KZUM, David Rabe.
I keep muting myself and then talking and then realizing I'm muted. No, but yeah, I think he has the song right there. Because I think of ain't nothing but a hound dog. I think of like Elvis, and then I always think, oh, Elvis wrote it or something. And no, it's like a Purple Rain. I got my different people that write different things for others, and I don't know where it comes from sometimes. So I think do you have it on there, David?
Doja Cat.
Yeah, Doja Cat.
Vegas. Yeah. And I'm kind of infatuated with Chapel Roan right now. There's a guy that has another show on KZUM, Jack Roden host, has a show, and he plays a lot more newer kind of stuff like that, and he got me hooked on the Chapel Roan, and I'm
all the young kids that come to my shows right now pretty much sing the whole Chapel Roan playlist that I have in karaoke right now.
Deservingly so.
She kind of broke into the industry in a different way too, right? She's not your stereotypical Barbie princess that comes in. I mean, not saying that she's not, good looking and talented. I'm saying she just came in a different way.
Well, she's been around for a while. She's just now really getting the recognition, but she's been around a while. In fact, she kind of criticized the industry for kind of the way she was treated. She came in and they kind of noticed she was a star, but then kind of put her to the back burner, and then she kind of had to kind of go out and do it herself and kind of really brand herself, and by doing so she got to the forefront again on her own, really.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the recent AMAs, but I think people are kind of just outraged and kind of tired of all these award shows and all this stuff. I mean, David's got an amazing shirt on right now. It says corporate radio still sucks, and it's but he's not wrong on that. It's not that we don't like the DJs on there, but we're just so tired of the same old pushed crap. Like, you could do it in a different way, like they do on You said they play some of these people on KZUM and some of these shows, but they're not shoving it down our throats, and they're not telling us that Beyonce is the greatest country performer of all time. And they're not doing, and people are just like tired of all this stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught that. We don't have to dive into it too much, but I do want to get your takes on, especially you, David, like with all these award shows, do they matter? I mean, Grammys still matter, but do the other ones really matter anymore?
Well, I mean, I come from a different world. I like, I booked Duffy's. I did small shows. My favorite place to play is in a basement of some kid's house, because there's 30 people right on top of you, So like I've never been the mainstream thing. I mean, I'll watch them. It's kind of fun to watch them. And I'm surprised that, I didn't know Chapel Roan was as huge as she was until I saw her on the award show. I just thought it was some band that Jack was playing, a bunch, but the AMAs, I watched that. I was not happy. It was not as good as the Grammys. Yeah. I was, though, Gloria Estefan, I can't even say her name, but that was pretty amazing, getting to see that. And even Rod Stewart, was pretty cool to see on that. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't really, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
There's kids. I don't know what they're thinking these days.
Well, I would say this. It's obvious that, to your point, Cain, Billie Eilish, who's getting a lot of recognition and awards, got into the industry, again, not your typical way. Her and her brother produced their own music out of their house. And because it's different, because it's unique, obviously Billy's got a great voice and Phineas is a great producer, but because it's a little different and little unique, everybody gravitated to it. And so it shows you that they're tired of the mainstream media telling them what you got to listen to. And it's kind of no different than Nirvana never wanting to be mainstream, yet they became mainstream because they weren't mainstream. So it's kind of a catch-22 a little bit, but at least it does push artists to give us some new takes and some new music.
I don't hate it's not the performances I love, but in today's day and age, I can just watch clips of all the performances and skip past all the stuff that makes me mad, right? Like this person won all these awards when I just don't think that, it's kind of like when they, it's like when they have like Metallica winning like best rap album of the year, you get those weird things where the artist has nothing to do with it. And that stuff is just mind numbing to me. Like, I'd like to run my neck over a chainsaw when I, when I get that type of thing with it. So I don't know. It's not appealing to me personally, but I do get the appeal for everybody else.
Well, it's like you said, It was the Beyonce thing. It's like they gave it to her because it was a missed makeup call. You know, she didn't win for maybe her best album. And so now, because everybody's pissed, they give it to her for an album that's okay. I mean, it wasn't really country. I mean, most of the songs on it weren't really that country.
But what is country these days?
Well, true.
I mean,
yeah,
you're not
but
comparing her to like what's his name? Not.
But if you listen to Chris Stapleton's album or Lainey Wilson's album last year, that was country, and those albums were solid.
It's all subject. I mean, I listen to Merle Haggard and Johnny Paycheck and that type of stuff, and I go, that's country, you know. But kids these days, they're just like, oh, that's the old garbage. You know, we don't care about that. We want to hear Hardy and all these other people.
But at the same time, Willie and those guys, they weren't country to the industry when they were around either. So, you know, they should, that one, though, I don't know where you put John, you know, John Denver won a country award, right? I don't know where you put John Denver at. I'm just going to say John Denver might be one of the most amazing musicians the country's ever known. He sold more tickets for like 5 years than any other band. He had pretty much the same band that Elvis had.
Hey, when I was a kid, I loved John Denver. His music is great. Just puts out some great songs. Yeah.
But, you know, let's think about this for a second. It's kind of like I think about with politics. Like, why do we even have different names like Democrat and all that? Like, why don't you just vote for somebody that you believe in? Same with music. Why do we actually have to put a title on it? Why don't we just say, hey, I really like this music. I really like what this is. And I have mad respect for people that try to go outside of their realm or what they're used to doing. And that's a true artist. But the thing with the shows, and this is, I will always say this with anything that, you know, with professional athletes and they're making millions of dollars and they have these huge shows, they have all this stuff. I get so like something inside of me gets just not angry, but all the money spent on people that already have money and there's more money and there's more money. Like, why don't we take some of that money and give it to these children that want to learn how to play this? Like, kind of disperse it in a better way rather than, oh, we got these shoes on Susan that are $9,000. Why don't you, well, how about you could put some flip-flops on and take that $9,000 and go feed a couple kids and give them some instruments. You know, that's my outtake on it. But anyway, that's what I think.
I'm just going to say the Giantess tour in the last couple of years, Taylor Swift, she actually gave money back because, you know, there's sometimes you don't go see a band and you're like, oh, I could go see them next time or whatever. But, you know, like, oh, that was the greatest show on earth. I mean, that's not even my world, you know, that I've always loved Taylor Swift and I like her because she's got a bit of a rebel story behind her and she does it right and she writes her own songs or she credits people. But, you know, she changes, you know, she used to be country. Now, you know, she's not country, you know, things change. I guess that's like my show. That's why I have no problem playing a polka and then playing Fugazi. You know, right.
And David, I was just going to say that is your show. You play all kinds of stuff and that's how it should be. It should, you know, get people out there, get them to hear all different kinds of stuff. And you do that. And I love that so much about you.
Thank you. Taylor, every town that Taylor performs in, she will supply the local food bank for a year.
And we see this happening more often too, like people saying like, screw you, Ticketmaster, and screw, you know, they're trying to get, you know, try to make it right. And I love that.
Well, she put her money up. When they told her she couldn't do it, she put her money up and did it herself. And that, so you don't have to like Taylor's music to not respect her as a business person and as a humanitarian. So that's my take on Taylor Swift.
Well, I think the answer to Brooke's question, you know, circling back to it was why do we need all these labels? Why? Well, I mean, it's simple business. It's simply putting labels on things so that you can put the you know, back in the day, putting the physical record. But we live in a great age now, like the age of the indie artists like myself, who we don't have any label of what we are. When people ask us, well, what type of music do you play? That's when I kind of get glazed over, and I kind of like, you know, transmit myself onto a different planet, because I have no idea. Like, I mean, I have a bunch of influences, my music, and that's what a lot of indie artists have right now. But it's kind of a golden age where, yeah, I know a lot of people, like big time producers and stuff, are going to say, oh, it sucks that you guys aren't going to the big studios and you're doing this in your basement and everything. But it's a golden age for us, because who can't afford to go to their studio finally have the opportunity to play this music that we have no idea what it is, but it's oozing out of us. Like I have no idea what I play. It's probably somewhere along the lines of grunge and metal, and then I play a lot of folk and country stuff too. I just don't have it out there. So it's all an amalgamation of what we are. But that's kind of the answer to your question, Brooke, because I think that labels literally started as them labeling music,
Well,
because they needed a place to put it in the slots of what area of the records or whatever.
absolutely. And now you kind of see, though, you have the artist's name instead, so you have, or the band name instead of like country, or because we were at a record store the other day and that's how they had it lined up. It wasn't necessarily, rock and all that. And I liked how they did that because, where do you put Taylor? Where do you put, certain people? And I kind of like that, because then we don't have this idea that they have to be this way. Beyonce has to sing this music. Madonna only sings this music. Willie only gets to this. That's what music is. It's a universal language. It hits everyone. Let everybody do whatever they want for as far as music, because it's not hurting anybody. In fact, it's making this world a much better place. And just the title of like saying you're this or that, I don't believe in that. I just believe in, you're an artist and do whatever the hell you want.
Well, I'm gonna bring it back full circle, which is David's show. And let's be honest, David, you play what you like and what you were influenced, and that's what your whole show is about. And that's why we have you on today, my friend.
Thank you. You know what I miss is like right around after the Nirvana shake, schism or whatever it would be happened. Like before that, there was labels. So my first time buying Nirvana wasn't because they were Nirvana. It was because they were on Sub Pop.
Yep.
So, and then Bleach to me is still their greatest thing ever. I tend to like I always think like the best thing is like one of the first things I get from a band, but there was a label, there Amphetamine Reptile, which was out of Minneapolis, that had a bunch of bands that, I looked for labels, and I knew if that label had that band, they were pretty good. And then again, you could probably see that band at Duffy's for like $5, $3 to $5, back in the day. Duffy's was an amazing place. Duffy's, after the drumstick, the post drumstick era, I think they started doing music in around 81. They're still doing the same kind of bands to this day. But Duffy's used to only do shows on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I bet half the crowd would be there because it was a Wednesday or Sunday. They didn't know what band was going to be playing, but they knew it was going to be a good band. That's pre The Edge, pre Knickerbockers, the Hurricane, all that kind of stuff. It was a fun experience to be there. It's like the drumstick was, because it was, people came because they knew that night their friends were going to be there because those bands were playing. And there wasn't any other place doing that in Lincoln other than maybe the college or some amazing house shows,
Well, that was my college experience from pretty much 89 to 93. We always went to Duffy's.
Yeah.
And I'll give a shout out to Reg McMean right now, who was the owner of Duffy's back then. And
I'm thankful Reg gave me a chance he hired me to do the stuff there. And, from then on, I have friends to this day that across the country because I worked there and did the bands. Like Reg is a great man. I love Reg.
I did a lot of comedy stuff with Reg, and of course, Duffy's had basically the old comedy workshop on Monday nights, and then
Yeah.
of course, favorite local band Shit Hook. If you want to do some live karaoke, if you wanted the experience of playing with a live band, but you didn't know you were a front man, you could go to Duffy's on Thursday nights and
I,
be the front man for Shit Hook.
I need to apologize for them because they're still doing it to this day. And I was the one like, hey, you guys should do this. Why don't we do this? And so they always blame me for starting the live karaoke.
That's awesome. I always wondered whose idea that was. All right, you heard it here, David. You
Man.
are it.
They were
that room was packed every Thursday night, and some of the best performers were the bartenders.
Oh yeah, they still do it every Thursday night down at the zoo.
They're going to be playing at Madsen's, aren't they, in the near future also?
Yeah, they just did, and they're going to be coming back. Yeah, love those guys.
I let alone they're the world's greatest karaoke. Those guys have been in so many amazing bands. They are Lincoln history. They are Hall of Fame. They're probably all in the Nebraska Performing Arts Hall of Fame already. You know, Dave Robles been playing the Zoo Bar since it opened. That's a just amazing band. There's so much amazing musicians in town that you get to see, and you're like, oh my God. It's kind of like when you were younger and you didn't watch Hee Haw, and now you see a Hee Haw episode, and you're like, why wasn't I watching this then? There was some amazing music on here. You know,
American Bandstand.
Hey, Brooke, I have a connection to Shit Hook, but if you want to manifest it and make it so they get on the show soon,
I will. Actually, I will. Oh, I'm on top of that. I would love to have them on there
because
I can do that.
I feel like I worked for Phil Shoemaker when I was like 16, and I was doing dishes, and I stood him up one time like I didn't show, and he was pissed, you know, when I came in. And so like ever since then, I've been like terrified. Like I know he's a virtuoso. I know.
But here's your chance. Here's your chance to apologize.
Fight me, right? One of the two. I remember you little asshole.
No, say, hey, that was my twin brother, my evil twin. I have no idea what you're even talking about. I am so sorry. We're not worthy.
We had a concert one time on East Campus. It was like called the Big Red Rockorama, and we had like 60 bands over 2 nights. We had 2 stages. It was all hometown bands. By the way, I'm trying to encourage people to stop using the word local. I say hometown because local, in my brain, I still do it, but local, you know, you're dismissing the band. You're, without knowing it, you're dismissing the band. But if you say hometown band, you know, I mean, the Rolling Stones are a hometown band from London, but nobody calls them a local band, you know? So I just blah, 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 blah. And now I lost my train of thought because I got excited about that.
Well, I like that idea of hometown. I have a playlist on Spotify that I started that's called it's called Hometown Nebraska.
Oh, beautiful.
And it is nothing but homegrown talent, you know, and it's all Nebraska artists. I add them all the time. So I love that idea. Stop calling them, because local almost suggests, when you hear the word local in a band, it's almost like, you know, they're all right, but then the national bands are going to come in, the good stuff's going to happen. That's not true at all. We know that.
Josh Hoyer's a local band.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, you know,
Exactly.
Plaque Bleg is a local band. No, Plaque Bleg's a hometown band, you know.
Yeah.
I know where I was going. Big Red Rockorama. And we had judges, and we gave away studio time, because back in the day, you couldn't get a show if you didn't have a recording. You had to give something to somebody. It kind of put a level up. You couldn't have really bad bands because they had to have good enough to get a recording. But my judges for it were Elkent Walgamont. I think the Animal was working at KFMQ at that time, and Phil Shoemaker.
Oh man,
it was like a good angry crew.
Yeah.
And then it played live over the radio of KFMQ for the whole weekend too. It was a great thing. But yeah.
That sounds like a blast, man. I just hope that Phil isn't like an arch nemesis of mine. I hope that obviously I know he's forgotten it because he's too cool to remember something dumb like that. But me, I'm a loser, and so I sit around and I think about it constantly. Like I better have a weapon with me in case it goes down. You know.
I always say Phil hates everything, but it's not true. Not true.
Hey, Cain, before we get out of here, speaking of homegrown, I do want to give a little shout out and some condolences to the Paul family. We did lose John Paul here this last week of the Sandy Creek Band. So just before we get out, little shout out. He was a great musician here in town and one of the great bands here in Lincoln.
I was talking to the Wagon Master last night, who's done the hayride on KZUM we were 45 years. Every Friday for 45 years, he's been playing Western swing music. But he told me that after the Sandy Creek won one of those big bluegrass competitions back in the 70s, that Bill Monroe asked him to come play for him. And he's like, no, I just want to stay here and hang out with my friends.
Man,
how would you say no to Bill Monroe?
Exactly. Well, yeah, definitely our condolences from the show. And time has flown, Randy. You're absolutely right. Like all good things, this thing is coming to an end. We'll definitely have David back on the show. I know we need to dive in. I know David told me, some stuff when we were outside. I mean, David's been to 48 states. He's traveled all over the place. I mean, there's just so much more that we could dive into.
The bands have taken me everywhere in the world, the country.
And we want to thank you for taking us as a community in Lincoln everywhere with you, with all the music that you've done and everything. We really do appreciate you being on the show and coming in the studio with us.
I just want to say thank you for all you guys' support of KZUM. You guys mentioned KZUM. I love I work at the Zoo Bar, and I told them that, you guys, I've been trying to tell people about the podcast. And I'm like, yep, they give a Zoo Bar rundown every week, a Duffy's rundown. They you guys are doing a great job supporting the local music in town. You guys could do this like 3 times a week and still never run out of guests if you really wanted to. You guys doing a good job. I want to thank you for what you're doing for the community.
Well, I appreciate
you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you. And I might, like I do some people, I might just show up one day and be like, hey, can I just hang out with you? Because you feel like a really cool man. Just sitting there and listen to some stories.
I could have the 3 of you guys come on my radio show if you wanted to sometime.
That would be badass. Yeah.
Well, Scratch the Vinyl listeners, check out Dave Rabe, the Morning Slackers, every Thursday, you guys, KZUM.
So as we close the show, David so I have this vinyl right in front of me. I'll probably do a clip of this, but you guys listening at home can't see it. But I did get Allie and I finally his Imaginary Hearts album. He did a temporary run. This is I think 10 years in the making, and he put it out to me for Cain. Don't scratch this vinyl. And then he signed it. So that's amazing. That's right here. We talked about somebody obsessing over something. What Andrew doesn't know is that when I talked about Slow Joy, I actually did the same thing with his album, which was this album right here. So big shout out to him for playing the show. Shout out to David here for being on the show, and all the listeners out there. And I mean the millions out there listening at home. We appreciate you, and we will catch you on the flip side next week here on
Scratch the
Vinyl.